officially good afternoon. Welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly market wrap. I'm Scott. I'll be your host. Here's the disclaimers. Education, illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. No recommendations. No advice. Our agenda today is going to review the market analysis. What happened today? We got a outstanding jobs report. Everyone's like, oh, the weakness in the... I'm telling you, they latched onto it. I predicted they would. One indicator. They're like, oh, it's predicted 100% of the time it's right. There was only 9 instances. So there was only 9 instances, and there's no count for has it ever triggered and then not turned into a recession, because now there is, right? And so the unemployment, Sam said, good week. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. The unemployment rate dropped back to 4.2 or 1 or something. We'll go look at it. Anyway, super strong jobs report. We'll look at our posture. I don't think the posture is actually going to change. We did test higher, I think, today, but I don't know that fundamentally anything is going to trigger a score differential, which is okay, right? It's okay because we're at a 5.5. It's a solid bullish score. It's not the greatest bullish score, but it's a solid bullish score. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. So let's hit it. Let's get into it. Long-term trend. I think it's just there's not much that's going to change that. Other than organically, you can see once again we were looking to see if this is going to bounce. It's just barely hanging on to this green zone. If it can't get moving soon, we're going to have to adjust. I'm not even on the right chart. We're going to have to adjust and redraw some lines across these tops and these bottoms. Let me just show you what I'm thinking and then let everyone weigh in on how they would score it. I'm going to start from back here. And I'm going to go like that. And I think if I duplicate this and bring it down, I got to get a new mouse. My button is so sensitive that it pops off so quickly. Okay, so that would need to be just a little higher. But I actually think we could, nope, I want... Boom. Tell me what you guys think about that. I don't want to go through the hassle of coloring them and stuff like that, but if you notice, it's kind of like, wait a second, that is not 1.5. Is that what we are right now? 1.5. It's more like a 1. I don't know yet. It hasn't finished. If it goes higher than this, then we would have to redraw this upper line and reassess how we look at it. But I am looking at the potential of an organic, not a triggered. Sometimes our scores are triggered. It breaks support. It breaks resistance. It does this. That's a trigger, and we lower the score a little bit or we raise the score a little bit. That's not what this is. This is a organic where we're like, as it settles, it hasn't really gotten up near that green line for a while. So can we really assess that as our trend anymore? We battled to come back in. Yeah. So I'm getting close, I think, to where I might not get a quarter of a point just because that's nowhere near. I mean, that's coming out of this, but we don't know yet. Let's see what happens next, and we'll see. I'm thinking hard. Short term. Monday, we had a bullish day with volume, and we're like, ooh, that's going to raise our score. And then we're like, Tuesday, bullish score, bearish score with volume. Those two cancel each other out. Small pop. No volume on the pop today, though, so that's not going to do anything. I don't see any score differential. We didn't get to a higher high. That's our highest high. We got near it. We're here. Nothing that's going to raise my score or lower my score. We did have a higher low, kind of. I mean, we kind of seem to be turning off of it, but it's not enough that we're like, let's raise the score. That's what I see. Anyone want to present something different as perspective for trend analysis? Now, here's what I do want to say. We don't score this. There's no like extra discretionary subjective area for us to be like, hey, did anything happen that might normally cause the market to really get shook? And yet the market just got a little stirred. That's important, right? I mean, it's continuing to escalate, but everyone sees it as like, well, they're rattling sabers back and forth. Price of oil spiked a little. We had a little VIX spike, but overall, if you were like, hey, there's a global economic, or excuse me, there's a geopolitical escalation in the Middle East, blah blah blah, and then you look at this and you're like, where do you see that on this chart? I feel like the market is processing that. That's, to me, aligning itself with our overall bullish narrative. Give me your thoughts. Everyone's so quiet. Let's get some conversation going. Miguel, I feel like I'm monologuing here. I need some dialogue. Am I wrong? Is the market just sort of the calm before the storm, or are we breaking out from here as we move into towards middle of October? Okay. What else? Let's keep going. Volume. Oops, that's not the right chart. Okay, volume. We have a sell here. Is this is which anticipated? Like this, seeing this as a buy signal? Theoretically, we bounced. I mean, it's a red candle, which means it opened higher the previous chart. We'll go back to it. Let's look at volume, and I'll go back. Sell, buy, those cancel. Buy, 2-to-1 for buyers. We kind of gave them one day. We'll say 2-to-2, 3-to-2, 3-to-3, 4-to-3, 5. I think it's 4-to-4. I think it's a tie. It's like they wash out, they wash out, they wash out, they wash out. A tie, a zero, is still at 0.25. I still give that to the buyers. And you might be like, wait, how does a tie go to the buyers? We expect sellers to be there, right? Look at the sanity check. What has the market done in this 30-day chart when we say, yeah, we're still going to slightly give the edge to buyers? Every time the sellers try, they beat them to the other direction. There's no way to get to it. So what's the direction? From here to here. It's up. You can see the green line really actually maps that quite well, in line with the trend. Okay, back to the previous chart. So I don't see any change yet in my posture. Is this anticipatory? Well, here's the deal. The last time you got a signal that looked just like this was right here. Right there. That was only a harami. That's an inside day. That's not like a significantly bullish day. The next day it got confirmation. But if you look the time before that, we saw the same thing right through here, where when it comes down and then it crosses. Well, that was a good time. That was a good time. Do we think this is going to be a good time? I'm a 5.5. I'm bullish. What is our basic premise? Find a bull market, buy the dips. Do we have a bull market? Yes, 5.5. What do we have here? A dip. We went from 574 down to 564. It's 10 points. It's not much. 10 points is what, 2%? 2 to 3%. That is just a normal consolidation. Or excuse me, consolidation. If you get 4 or 5%, like this one here, we went from 563 down to 540. That's about 24 points. That's more like 4.5%. That's a deep consolidation. Here, even more than that, we had 10% or very close. This we called a correction. Consolidation, deep consolidation, correction. So you can see we've kind of worked our way out. So now we think, maybe we get a trend where we have higher high, consolidation, higher high, consolidation, higher high. That would be 3 moves. That would take us through the end of the year. Are we bullish? Don't fight the Fed. I mean, I like what's lined up. That's where I am still. Who's with me? Are you bullish? Are you trading bullishly? Sam had a good week. Is it because you're bullish? Steven's not here today. I was a little worried about Steven because he had a few puts. Right now, his puts were on. I think it was oil. Let's go look around at some things now. You can see energy still kind of meandering higher, right? Still bullish, yeah, David. Cyclical's looking good. Amazon maybe turning something good. Airbnb, Tesla. You can see communication services looking good. Close. NVIDIA, AMD, TSM, if you liked it. Some financial strength. These are all the areas that we've been looking, right? So let's just kind of talk through what we see going on. Blockbuster jobs report shakes up the Fed's path. I disagree. It's the hopes of a larger cut, another 0.5%. Yeah, okay. The argument could be made that you didn't need 0.5% to begin with. So, let's keep looking. What's going on in the calendar? What did we get? We were expecting 128. We got, where is it? It dropped to the bottom. It does this. We're expecting 128. We got 143. Strong. We're expecting to only have 7.7 million jobs. We still have 8 million job openings. Strong. Jobless claims. Right where it was expected to be. Low 200s, 225. Services improved. Factory orders flat. Jobs smashed it. Unemployment dropped again back to 4.1. Hourly wages increased. Wages are now moving at a faster pace than. So wages are at 4% year over year. GDP's at 3%. And inflation, according to PCE measures, is now down in the 2s. Still in the 3s. So depending on what measure you use. If you remember what we said the Fed cutting rates in 2024 is about inflation having dropped enough. If they waited to 2025, it's because now they're scared they're going to be too late. They said, we just want to make sure we're in front of this thing. But that doesn't mean, remember, this is turning the Titanic. You don't just, I still think we're going to see 0.5%. A 0.25% come in, right? Let's go look at that real fast. It was 2 to 1. That can't be right. I swear that just said that there's like a 97% chance. Well, I don't know why this is taking so long to load. We're already 33 days away from the next meeting. It seemed like it said, I don't know what's wrong. Relaunch the update. Miguel's going to tell me I got to relaunch the update. Why do I have to update this so much, you know? Just keep it. Oh, no. There's just no more expectation of a half a point. That's what it is. There's 1% chance, no change. 99% chance, quarter point decrease. I can get with that. Let me know your thoughts. Okay. What's next? Next week. Oh yeah, it's my whole Chrome again. Damn you, Chrome. I like Chrome better, but it just sort of lets me down a bit, you know? Oh my goodness. What? Did you guys see this? This is important. Rates can come down a lot. Despite strong jobs report, says who? Goolsby. If Goolsby's talking, I'm listening. He says, yeah, we can keep coming down even though there's strong jobs. Inflation's down. It's not about the economy is strong, so don't lower rates. It's about inflation is down, so lower rates so you don't risk curbing the growth. I love what the Fed is doing. I love Goolsby for Fed. Jer Bear's doing pretty well. I think we've got the right monetary policy for what we have in front of us for a strong market. I feel like no one's as excited as I am. What's the cause? Bullish, Miguel says. Finally, I didn't even know if Miguel was still here. He fell asleep on me. What do we have next week? Debating to go in. I get it. Economic news. What do we have? The posture is going to stay strong. Feels like we've had a small dip. It's turning out of the dip. I have no problem with that at all. Bowman, if there's no Goolsby, we don't care. On the 8th, no Goolsby. On the 9th, Goolsby, Chicago Fed, Goolsby, giving some remarks. Then we have what? CPI. You can see where we are year over year, 2.5. Core CPI, low 3s, 3.2. And then after that, when we get CPI, what do we get next? PPI. By all measures, we're down to, at the worst, low 3s, and everything else is kind of finding itself into those zones. That's why they're lowering, not because they're like, oh, well, the jobs are maybe, they're saying, look, our primary job is inflation. That's the primary job. If inflation's down, then great. Let's untether. Fabulous. Let's get to some symbols. We're back at the high for the day. We're back at 1%. Not 1%, but close, 0.8. Let me get my watch list. Apple. Ooh, Apple. I at this point with it staying down here, if it had closed like up in this area at the high, that would have been like, yes. Monday, okay. AEP, still waiting to see what utilities are going to do. Aflac just keeps going. Amazon, I think Amazon is a potential go. I bet you have the right Heiken-Ashi too. You have a little teeny shadow, but that's viable. That is absolutely viable. Amazon is strong. XP, still strong. So hopefully if you were an early purveyor of AXP, you got a hiccup. We know this. If it hiccups but doesn't go wrong, you can't let this. We talked about it every step of the way. Didn't even get close. Well, it got close. That's a lie. But it didn't get close to the low. It got close to like this area where we bounced, but never. Anyone still in this? AXP? BAC turning. The financials are like, giddy up. Let's go. They're loving it. BK New York Mellon, trade opportunity for sure. I was a little reluctant to keep putting alerts out this week. But I might start as long as the signal's close to this level on Monday. A lot of times when we have strength on Friday like this, it gives a little pullback. So there might be some signals like this one or another one that we look to put an entry signal like down a little lower. It's confirmed. I don't have a lot of time. What I didn't love was this, and I'm not going to panic on this thing. It's still just kind of in the same area. David says, I never got my signal yet, but, be aware of what's going on. Carrier still, they're still strong. They're just sort of like a little like iffy strong. Defensives, Colgate's about to just get booted off the list. In fact, I think I'm going to at this point. Now I'll keep watching for a little while. CMG, stable, about to turn into a signal. I like consumer discretionary right now. Costco, consumer discretionary / consumer staples. That looks viable. It doesn't have a great trend, but sometimes it can just, you can see back here when it was kind of sideways, it went and then it's just like bam and it took off. It can do that. What are you guys in? What are you guys thinking about? Do you like our watch list? Do you like what we're seeing here? I think there's kind of a lot of opportunities still. Duke Energy, I'm iffy on utilities. Like I said, still iffy on industrials. Bitcoin, if you like Bitcoin, there's a nice bounce signal in place. That was my favorite. It kind of like shot out. That's not what I've been watching long enough to put like a triggering order in. So I'm on the sidelines with this, kind of like, oh, should I have gotten in? Did it kick or not kick? Anybody trade any of these new utility stocks that we're looking at? Gold is still in a bit of a small consolidation. General Motors, like I said, I could see it bouncing off of this support, but I'm not looking to trade into this just like sideways channel. Google, still a little uncertain. Home Depot, maybe starting a consolidation. Great. I'd love to trade this. It's just been kind of running like a freight train. IWM, small caps, trying to turn out of this today. We'll see. KKR, that's the one we actually took. You can see yesterday we were like, we're okay. It's fine. Right, we'll see what happens here. We'll see if it catches up. See if we need to adjust this a little bit. Coca-Cola dogged out. No good. I would expect you got out of Coca-Cola 3 days ago. MasterCard, maybe even earlier than that. I'm just saying. MasterCard kind of sitting. McDonald's kind of sitting. Meta looks strong. We just didn't get enough pullback. That's not enough. I thought about it yesterday. We talked about it, but it was just strong. I did take TSM yesterday, not as strong. 3M still looks good, but I'm just not thinking defensive. I don't know. Last time I said that, we all saw what happened. Microsoft could turn in. If we see this thing pop, I think I would take it. Even if I just got back up to here, that's a nice trade. If I can get in by 422, that's almost 20 points. Almost 20 points. I could probably take, 8 points of risk. That's 2.5 to 1 just to get to the old high. And then if I get a breakout, maybe even a little more. NDAQ, yeah, it's not doing much. Netflix, that's viable if you're thinking about it. I mean, it looks a little choppy right now, but there you go. NRG, nothing there for us yet. NVIDIA, we said yesterday, is a viable signal. PEG, a little overextended. PGR, what time is it? We still have time. PGR looks viable. PLTR, great, keeps going. We know this thing can just sort of like push. For NDAQ, now NDAQ, are you talking about the trade from back here, PJ? Yeah, I would say, remember that trade was out for 7 to 10 days, which if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you see, this thing kind of crossed its zone here. And now, if someone stayed in, there was a little bit of a signal that popped there. And then you can see it's just sort of fallen apart. What I would say with something like this, when you have an alert, remember that I'm going to give the alert, but I'm not going to follow up. You have a stop. You have a couple of targets. You know how to look at the charts. So I would say when you're looking at a 7 to 10 day trade, and on day 8 to 9, you're seeing it cross its stochastics, we're done, right? Like, that's it. And I'll try to mention it. And I think I mentioned that I exited, but if you're not there, that's hard, right? So make sure you're managing these. At this point, I wouldn't let it break this level here. This is now a new higher low that failed to materialize. So it's right at this level here. No, I get it. I would say on Monday, if you get an inside day and then it can bounce from there, great. Anything less than that, ready to shut it down. Netflix. And remember, something like this, oh, not that one. In this area here, we're like, hey, this thing just fundamentally changed colors. Yeah, we want to be careful not to, if possible. I mean, obviously, circumstances can dictate. It's not much you can do with that. Where was I? PLTR. Yeah, it looks great. I wouldn't do anything with this. KKR is looking great. PLTR is looking great. QQQ. Oops, wrong thing. Go back to the Qs. Lost the screen. Yeah, that's weird. It said I'm now a speaker. Can you hear me? Yes. Weird, but okay. Here we are. Southern. I don't know. I'm just going to watch it and see if something shows up that looks good. I think we're going to possibly close at the high of the day. That's strong. 0.85%. Tesla. If you like Tesla, it's right there. Still can't see? Who can see? It says that it's streaming. You can see now? Okay. Okay. Tesla, I think you could. That would be something that you might think anticipatory. It's pinching. It hasn't turned. TSM was valid yesterday. Today it's getting a little bit of follow through. Definitely valid Heiken Ashi here. Zoom. Yep, perfect. USB. I think financials have viability, right? I think financials do. UUP. I'm not sure what this is. Looking for an interest rate decrease. Maybe it's priced in it holding at a rate for longer. Yeah. Possibly flight to safety, buying the dollar as a safe haven during global economics uncertainty. Right there you can see David says the 5, 10, 30 all up. Why? That's a good representation of that. The flight to safety, buying the right. So global economic weakness. If other areas are weak, they'll buy into the dollar, buy into the U.S. economy, buy into our bonds. If the expectations that the rate cut was priced in at a 0.5 point and we only get 1/4 point, so there's different things. We'd like to see it stay definitely below, right? We don't want to see it get all the way back up, but we'll see what happens. Today's VIX. That's good. Technically, the VIX did get a higher high than this one. I keep saying that, like, from a discretionary standpoint, I think I have to take 1/4 point away from that. Bad VIX, I'll say. Bad VIX. So the VIX, the market, but I actually think it might. So here's what I think might happen. We might get 1/4 point on sector rotation, and then we might lose 1/4 point on the VIX. So we stay 5.5, and then we'll keep that 1/4 point on sector rotation. Then we'll gain 1.25 on the VIX, and then all of a sudden we're at a 6. That's what I think is going to happen. Watch that come our way. You heard it here first. Who gave me this? This wasn't mine, I don't think. Did I find this, or did someone throw this at me? I don't remember. It's like a freight train, but it's hard to pull the trigger on something like that, you know? Good Lord. Long term, I'm on the fence with that, David. I'm thinking about it. I am strongly considering it, but I don't know if I'm there quite yet because I feel like, hey, you know what? This thing could really pop, and I don't want to have to drop then raise, but I'm getting there, you know? Were you thinking about it? That's a question. Walmart kind of sideways could start at any time. There's a lot of strength in Walmart right now. A lot of strength in Walmart. Materials look like they're dropping, but maybe in a position to bounce. Communication services seems to be popping out of a flag and overall showing some strength. Energy. So a little bit more breakout, but like I said, we saw this back in July get to the same level and fall right back down. I'm not too concerned about that yet. We'll see when it drops if it gets a higher low, and then we'll see if it breaks through. But if it never breaks through 94, I'm fine. Financials look strong, poised to break out. Industrials still look okay. Technology maybe bouncing. Staples iffy. Staples being iffy means that maybe the last the last true defensive sector is actually going to show some drop when things show bullishness. Healthcare looks, I'm not interested. I'm never really interested in healthcare, but I watch it. But that doesn't look great. But that's not detrimental to the market. Consumer staples looks good. I think we're still going to have, I think you could trade today. Absolutely. If you're thinking about it and you have room for it in your risk, if you put trades on, absolutely, I think that makes sense. If you wait and see how we come out on Monday and look for confirmation, I mean, it's 4 minutes away. Like it's unlikely you're going to smash a trade on in the last 3 minutes. Am I wrong? Like to get it on BTU. I'd like to give it. You want it? I want to give it. We're in alignment. Could be a flag. Could be a flag. Previously, Bill in healthcare, weird business. David, I want to have a chat someday. I swear it turned into like a semi-growth. I told you there was a time where like for 18 months, healthcare led a growth market. I'm like, this is just strange. So anyways, okay. We got through everything. Last couple of days to work on your trading goals. And then we're going to make a concerted group effort to on the next round of the trading plan, right? So we're finishing section 8. We're going to start back with section 1. We've got some new people. We want to get them moving through it. So now, additionally, I told you that we're looking at some new platforms. We have one that we're going to try. I'm going to spend some time building it out. I'm looking for anyone who's interested in just kind of, we're beta testing it, where you come across, sign up, take a look, give your feedback before we do a broad like, hey, this is what we want. If anyone is, there's no real benefit to you. It's helpful to us. It just gives you a chance to look at it and weigh in, and your input will help direct what happens. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll put your name down, and then when we have something for you to look at, you could say, oh, wow, this is way better. I love this. Let's do it. Or you could be like, this isn't it. This is just out of the frying pan into the fire. Let me know. David, yes? Okay. Probably just, if we get a handful of people, we'll get some feedback and a good sense for it. That's it. Have a great weekend. I will see everybody Sunday morning, usual time, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll actually be in Chicago, believe it or not. So we'll have a traveling show. Should be fun. Okay. have a great weekend. As I said, I'll see you Sunday. As always, happy trading.